What is going on, Jets Nation? It's your boy Richie from Jets Media, and in this video, I want to take a deep dive into the New York Jets quarterback and Zach Wilson and my overall honest opinion of what I've seen from him his first 6 games this season for the New York Jets. As we all know, currently we are coming off the bye week. The New York Jets are 3-3, and they have a big-time game against the New York Giants this Sunday. And I really want to give you guys my overall thoughts of the stats and diving deep into the PFF grades and some interesting stats that I want to present to you guys about Zach Wilson, the pros, the cons, and what to look forward to for the development of Zach Wilson. So with that being said, let's get straight into business. Now, first of all, I want to highlight this stat that is really interesting. You guys are familiar with it, I'm sure, if you guys are into these types of stats. And it's basically adjusted completion percentage, okay? So basically what an adjusted completion percentage means, according to PFF, it's the percent of aimed passes thrown on target. So it's completions plus drops and aim. So it basically takes away any drop passes. And how many times have we seen Jets receivers drop passes? And his number is at 74.7% adjusted completion percentage. His actual completion percentage is 60.4, which is, by the way, a career high. So that's the first thing I wanted to highlight is Zach Wilson is becoming an efficient quarterback and being able to be on time and be accurate with the ball. And that's a big deal. I know people are probably thinking to themselves, yeah, Richie, I mean, thank God he's actually, doing what he's supposed to do, but we're seeing improvements. The first thing that comes to mind about Zach Wilson's struggles as a rookie in year number 2 was he would make the hard throws and not the easy throws, right? He would miss a screen pass underneath. He would miss the guy a little swing pass. He would not set his feet, sail it over his head all the way to the right. Not saying he's a perfect quarterback this season accuracy-wise, but you can tell the monumental leaps in the right direction in terms of his accuracy, and I think a lot of the development has to do with the coaching staff really honing in on his fundamentals, and Zach Wilson in particular really working on his fundamentals, because his lower half and his feet are really set, which is allowing his arm to be on time and be accurate. So that 74.7% adjusted completion percentage is pretty impressive to me personally, and it being 60.4% for the season, definitely not great numbers. I would like him to get near that 65% marker as the season goes on. But then again, you look at the last 3 games for Zach Wilson. He's coming off a 71.8% completion percentage against the Chiefs, 73.1% against the Denver Broncos, and then last time they went out there against the Philadelphia Eagles, he had a 57.6% completion percentage. An adjusted completion percentage that game was 68.8. So that just brings up a point that I wanted to make, that the accuracy, we're seeing slight development there. Now, a big part of his development as well that I wanted to highlight is his off-the-field stuff. I think Zach Wilson has really matured off the field, and that's translating to the football field every single time out there for Zach Wilson. I think that the maturity of being a leader, holding himself accountable, and also playing free and not overcomplicating things, right? You look at Zach Wilson, and you could tell he was just overthinking everything in his first 2 seasons with the New York Jets. And we saw it early on in Hard Knocks when, who was it? Rob Calabrese, the New York Jets quarterback coach on Hard Knocks, was saying before the preseason game, football's fun. Let's not stress about football. And Zach said himself, I'm done stressing about football. It was a cool moment. I'm like, yeah, Zach has taken football too seriously from the perspective of like overcomplicating things in his mind, and he's stressed out. And now it doesn't feel like that. It feels like Zach is very relaxed and calm and understands that you got to play free within the system and not overthink things. And Nathaniel Hackett spoke to the media today, and he had a really interesting quote saying the same thing that I'm talking about. He's approaching practice of like being more calm and collected and not having to like overthink, like, okay, where's my read here? What's this there? What's this there? If you're a quarterback and you're overthinking everything, you're not going to play your best. The best quarterbacks in the league are the ones that play free, play within the system, and just go out there and play with your instincts. And I think that's what Zach is finally getting to. And it hasn't been perfect by any means, but that's a promising sign of growth, if you ask me, for Zach Wilson. Definitely the not overthinking and playing loose within the system is something that we have to see a progression from Zach Wilson as his season progresses. Now, this game against the Giants coming up, it's against a tough defense that's playing good as of late, but this is where Zach has to take a leap in the right direction and really be the reason why the Jets start winning football games. And that starts with, you guessed it, red zone. Can we start scoring touchdowns in the red zone? Now, before we break down the red zone and break down some other interesting stats I have for you guys presented on Zach Wilson, we're going to hear a quick word As many of you guys know, I am somebody that really tries my best to make sure I am on top of my own anxiety, on my own depression, and I'm somebody that practices mindfulness, and I'm also a huge advocate for seeking help for anybody that needs it. Now, I'm really excited to announce the sponsor of today's video, because if there's something interfering with your happiness or preventing you from achieving your goals, regardless if you have a clinical health issue like depression or anxiety, or if you're just a human who lives in this world who's trying to get through a hard time, therapy can give you tools to approach your life in a very, very different way. And that's why I'm super excited to tell you about today's sponsor, BetterHelp. BetterHelp's mission is to make therapy more affordable and more accessible, and there is an important mission because finding a therapist can be really hard, especially when you're limited to just the options in your area. BetterHelp is a platform that makes you finding a therapist easier because it's all online. It's remote, and by filling out a few questions, BetterHelp can match you to a professional therapist in just a few days. So if you guys want to click that link down below in the description, we will be giving you guys 10% off with that code. Clicking that link really helps support the channel, but it also gives you 10% off your first month of BetterHelp so you can connect with a therapist and see if it helps you. And because finding a therapist is a little like dating, if you don't really fit with that therapist, which is a common thing with therapy, you can easily switch to a therapist for free without stressing about insurance, who is in your network, or anything like that. So if you are struggling, consider online therapy with BetterHelp. Click the link in the description or visit betterhelp.com/JetsMedia. Thank you again, BetterHelp, for supporting this channel. Another promising sign I've seen from Zach Wilson this season that we have not seen last year pretty much at all is his pre-snap reads. Now, the ability for Zach Wilson to recognize a coverage before the play is snapped is something that I was like, is he ever going to figure it out? Well, it took year number 3. It took this type of coaching staff and Aaron Rodgers' wisdom to be able to figure it out. Not a perfect finished product by any means, but the amount of times I've seen Zach Wilson go to the line of scrimmage and recognizing a coverage and adjusting it and adapting and calling it audible and checking to a new play and taking advantage of a coverage that he recognizes is a really good sign to see that, because this is the signs of progression of being an actual starting level quarterback in the NFL. Now, there's a reason why Rodgers was brought in here. Zach was playing like a backup quarterback and even borderline unplayable quarterback just last season. Now, he is starting to turn into a quarterback that you can prove to win with. And we have won with him this season, and we're 3-3 for a reason. Now, what I mean by the pre-snap reads, guys, is like there's a lot of opportunities that we were excited for with Aaron Rodgers, right? The Aaron Rodgers nuance, the ability for Aaron Rodgers to go to the line of scrimmage, check to a new play, give a little hand signal to Garrett Wilson. That's what I was talking about all offseason about what we should be most excited for with Aaron Rodgers. And now we're kind of seeing that come out of Zach Wilson a little bit, right? The ability, and the first play that comes to mind is that play against the Denver Broncos when that late clutch throw on third down to Tyler Conklin, when Conklin dragged 20 yards down the field with like defenders draped all over him. He checked to that play, right? It was an empty set. Zach Wilson noticed the coverage. He put his hands on his helmet. He said whatever the check was, and he checked to that play, looked to his left, and got off his first read and fired a bullet to Tyler Conklin. I mean, there's another time against the Eagles where it was 1st and 10. He checked from a run to a pass, which was a quick slant to Garrett Wilson over the middle. He recognized it was cover 1, single high safety. So Garrett Wilson got to win his one-on-one, and 9 times out of 10, that's what's going to happen. Garrett Wilson's going to win his one-on-one. So it's cool to see Zach Wilson starting to get comfortable checking at the line of scrimmage. We've never seen him do that, and that shows you the progression and the comfortability in the offense and his confidence in himself to be like, you know what? I got to go to the line of scrimmage, and there's 3 different plays I can check to based off what the coverage is. And that's something that we're seeing, which is really, really exciting stuff. He's also beginning to, you know, this is the stuff that he needs to work on if we're going to really start criticizing him, because he hasn't been perfect by any means necessary. He must continue to improve getting rid of the ball fast, right? He's definitely getting rid of the ball quicker than he ever has, you know, the first 2 seasons, but there are some times when he holds the ball a little too long and the Jets get sacked because of it. Now, another thing that Zach has been improved in this year is actually he's been pretty good under pressure. Now, that was a big gripe for Zach Wilson last 2 seasons with the New York Jets. And this year, he's actually shown signs of improvement. I think that comes with getting rid of the ball fast and on time. When the blitz is coming, especially against the New York Giants, you got to be able to let that ball rip immediately when the blitz is coming. And it's also up to the wide receivers to get open early and make sure that they become, a safety blanket for Zach Wilson when the blitz does come and when they're one-on-one matchup. So the ability for Zach Wilson to get rid of the ball fast and on time is really, really important for the whole trajectory of this offense. His quick release is his advantage, and that's really the best part about Zach Wilson is that flick of the wrist and that physical talent that he has, and we've always talked about, can he figure it out mentally? And right now, we're seeing some confidence. We're seeing some strides in the right direction. Now, when it comes to the red zone guys, I think that really comes down to execution. I think it comes down to the entire offense not biting themselves in the foot with back-breaking penalties, preventing 3rd and longs, which has been a really crucial, just a mess for the Jets offense. Every time they go out there into the red zone, it feels like it's 3rd and 17 because of a holding penalty or a crack block, whatever it is, it's frustrating. And I think that, the coaching staff, to Zach Wilson, to the offensive line, to the wide receivers, to the tight ends and running backs, they all have to be in unison. And we're finally seeing some progressions in the right direction. And we can all agree that the offense is trending up, and it's up to them to really execute and start scoring touchdowns in the red zone. In this whole video, we didn't even talk about Breece Hall and Garrett Wilson and the playmakers around Zach Wilson. I just want to focus in on the quarterback. My overall assessment of him in this one-take video. So, guys, let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section of Zach Wilson. Are you impressed with him? Do you think there's a lot of things he needs to improve on? Do you just not even think he's even playing good quarterback at all, and you're just writing him off as he's not the guy for the future, which, by the way, he has not proved that yet. There's no reason to believe Zach Wilson is the future franchise quarterback yet, but he's trending in the direction to prove that. And that's up to this game on Sunday, and then Monday night against the Chargers, Sunday night against the Raiders. I mean, these next 3 games are really going to get a good idea of who Zach Wilson is going up against lesser opponents than they did in the first 6 games. So again, guys, let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. Comment down below also a Statue of Liberty emoji if you stayed all the way to the end, and hit that thumbs up button if you're not already. Let's go Jets. I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.